All right, I see a lot of people doing video essays nowadays, and looks like a lot of fun. And that's all I needed to know in order to start this video, which will be a video essay on Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Just watched it the other day. It's pretty good, not gonna lie. It's a good movie. But I've been a fan of the original trilogy since it started coming out, so it was nice to see the new one come out and be able to see it in theaters as it was coming out. So anyway, I want to do a little movie review on this because it just kind of felt like it. All right. Overall sentiments of the movie, it's a good movie, worth watching, worth the money, I think. The overall story and plot is not overly complicated, but it's also not dumbed down and simple. There are multiple factions in the movie, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be more one versus two sided, but there's definitely the two ape factions, the Caesar's camp and Noah's camp, who's the main character. And then there's the human camp, which seems to side with our main character Noah, but also seems to have ulterior motives at the same time, and honestly might even be the villain in the next movie. I'm not sure. Anyway, regardless, things I think they did right in this movie: good character development, good choice to go jump ahead in 300 years. Um, First trilogy was great, but it had been it closed out. It wouldn't make sense to just go 10 years or 100 years. 300 years is a great timeline because not only does it separate you from the original trilogy, but it also allows the original trilogy to drift into sort of mysticism and legend for the current day, which they do touch on in the movie, where original Caesar from the original trilogy has now become a bit of a legend, almost even a Jesus figure, which checks out. He's a cool guy. But the stage for that is that we have the two rivaling ape factions, one of which has taken Caesar's legacy and kind of twisted it for his own benefit and developed his own kingdom, which he rules with an iron fist and is willing to just kill anybody who gets in his way. Then you have Noah, who's a bit more subscribed to the true intent of Caesar's vision, and he's just trying to do a good thing. He's trying to do right by the apes around him. He's trying to do right by even the humans. Now, in the story, he's just trying to get his ape family back after Caesar's camp completely fucked up their village. It wasn't even, honestly, it was fucking weird. They didn't even put up a fight. I thought that was kind of lame. Fucking, it was like a scouting party or whatever, and they just fucking destroyed their village. So kind of weak sauce, but fucking whatever, I guess. Anyway, um, that was good though. It was a good start to the movie. Set up the motivations really well, and get to engage in the story. Honestly, really like that character. I think Noah's character, the main character, he is solid all the way through. I think that he makes a lot of really great choices, and I think I'm just behind him all the way. Same with his buddy Raka, who comes up, and honestly, kind of mirrors the same dynamic between Caesar and his orangutan buddy from the original trilogy. So it's kind of like a soft reboot, I noticed, but in a new setting, which it's actually kind of an interesting way to do it. It's like they in this way, I mean, like for all intents and purposes, Noah is basically just Caesar from the original story, to be honest. And yeah, now they could just get to explore his character, but just in the future where apes are more dominant throughout the story and they're actually developing civilization, which is an interesting way to do it. I'm not complaining. I think it's cool. Anyway, they have a little buddy duo situation going up where Rock is teaching him about the old teachings, the true teachings of Caesar. I think that was kind of a cool dynamic that they had going on. Anyway, then they meet up with May, yeah, who's the human of the story, who's the only smart human, and it creates for some interesting moments in there because the two apes don't think that humans can speak and talk because that's all they've ever known is just these apes who are just, or sorry, these humans who are just can't communicate, aren't intelligent, and are just kind of bumbling idiots. Sort of meets May, who kind of conceals that for a little while, but then reveals that she actually is smart and actually is intelligent. It was like a big shock to them, which is kind of funny because it's a big shock almost to the audience as well. But then you kind of realize that you're watching a movie about apes, and then I don't know. It was an interesting feeling. But by far, she's the worst character in the movie. I straight up, I don't like her at all. She's okay in good in certain senses, and I do think that her motivations are put up pretty well. But like they have her like beating chimps in a one-on-one. Like not really. Like it was more like she like would kick a chimp. Like a chimp would grab her and then she would like kick the chimp off, and I was just like, no fucking way. Like that once that chimp's got that death grip on you, like there's no fucking shot, right? Actually, it was a fucking gorilla. Yeah, the fucking gorilla got on. I'm mixing up scenes right now. Anyway, regardless, I want to talk shit about May's character because it's not really that good. And it just seemed like they could have put her character in the oven for a little bit longer before committing to it. Um, that being said, I don't think she dragged the movie down a lot. Just it was her scenes that I always felt the most taken out of the movie. Although I never was really totally fully taken out of the movie. It was in her scenes that I just didn't like. Anyway, which is fucking ridiculous for a movie about apes that like the human character, like CGI apes, and like the human character is the one taking me out of the story. This isn't fucking believable. Anyway, uh, still her character was fine though. It was serviceable enough, and I think her character had a role and she played it pretty well, and it was good enough. What the parts that fucked me up the most, and I almost fucking audibly was like, no fucking shot in the theater was when I fucking when the so May's going in and interfacing with ancient, essentially by ancient I mean modern day technology, but that's now been lost and kind of is ancient and overgrown at this point. She's interfacing with this fucking ancient technology. She's pressing buttons to turn things on, and things turn on, which I think is fucking bullshit. I, it's been 300 years and things are actually turning on when she's pressing buttons. I don't know. I think in the movie they say that maybe the area that she was in was actually inhabited by humans for a while, so maybe it hadn't been 300 years since it was maintenance, but I mean like even 10 years without maintenance and things aren't going to fucking work, right? Like there's no way I could leave my car out for a year and it's not going to turn on after a year because at least one component is going to fail, the battery, but like somehow this fucking whole ass plant with electricity wire, all sorts of subsystems and interconnected systems is still able to turn on after like 100, 200, 300 years of nobody maintaining it. That fucking part annoyed the fuck out of me. And then it was the same thing later on too. You see these big ass, those satellite dishes that like kind of point into the sky to the communication towers, the big communication tower discs. At the end of the movie, you see those moving, and I was like, fucking no way. Like they looked like shit. I was like, there's no fucking way that shit moves. That stuff is completely locked up, rusted to shit. But it was like moving very smoothly as if it was just like freshly WD-40'd or something. But anyway, that was the only part that actually got me out of the movie. But it really fucking annoyed me, dude. It took me out every single time that shit happened because it's an important point that this technology works in the movie because that's what the apes are all kind of going for. The ape and humans are trying to get this technology. It's almost like a holy grail stuff, but shit hasn't been serviced in fucking 300 years. It's fucking useless now. You know, it doesn't matter if it was in a vault or some bullshit. It's fucking useless. Anyway, but it was good enough for the conflict and got the story going. So the rest of the character development, all that other shit was pretty good, I guess. So anyway, good movie. I think I think there had to be some suspension of disbelief in order to think that any of this technology would still be working 300 years later. But if you're cool with that, then the movie's gonna be even a notch better than what I considered it to be. And I already thought it was pretty good. So if you want to watch it, fucking go for it. I don't care.